Police found Brogan Dulle's body last night in a vacant building next to the apartment where he lived.
The coroner says Dulle hanged himself in the basement shortly after he was last seen early on Sunday, May 18th. Local 12's Rich Jaffe is live in Mount Auburn for us. And Rich, I know this has been a tough situation for everybody, to say the very least.
That is exactly right, Rob. As you know, more than 1,000 people turned out to search for Brogan Dulle. There are still posters, flyers, even billboards all through the community. And at this point, while we know what happened, there are no easy answers to any of it. Brogan Dulle lived right across the street in that apartment building, and he died right next door in that building. Brogan Dulle took many of his answers to the grave. Police now believe after a night of partying with friends, he used a fire escape to make his way up to a tiny third-floor window on the building next door to his apartment building. He carefully broke all the glass out of the window, then made his way to the basement, where he hanged himself with a piece of rope. He was found with a crowbar and a bottle of wine. Moments before, though, he was seen racing down McMillan with friends in a shopping cart, having fun, and then back on the street searching for a lost cell phone, all of which was caught on surveillance cameras.
We're certain he walked westbound of McMillan in an effort to find that phone, and we're certain he returned eastbound of McMillan, making his way back toward his apartment building. At that point, we don't have any camera footage that could put him farther east on McMillan. Our theory is that maybe he did make it back to his apartment to retrieve those items, the crowbar, but we don't know. We don't know if maybe this was planned days in advance. We just don't know that.
Last night, the owner of the vacant building saw what she thought was an intruder in the basement and called police. Police Chief Jeffrey Blackwell and Coroner Lakshmi Samarko talked about what they found.
We certainly have searched the exterior of this building extensively. That needs to be duly noted, that we have walked around the perimeter of this facility. We have not seen any sight of him, and nor have any of the searchers, the search party, the external search party. However, upon going inside into the building, we did discover.
I think it would have been a difficult place for somebody to discover him without actually being inside the building where he was found. So perimeter-wise, I don't think you would have seen any indication that somebody was in the building.
Police say they believe Dulle's body was inside the building the entire time the community was searching for him. Now, while the police investigation into what happened to Brogan Dulle is basically closed at this point, they admit there are still a lot of unanswered questions, and they are probably questions that will remain unanswered for a long, long time. Fortunately, the pros know that sometimes you just can't make sense out of the senseless. In Mount Auburn, Rich Jaffe, Local 12 News. Rob?
Last night we couldn't figure out how in the world that he may have broken into this building and nobody noticed, but today we learned why. Because the window that was broken was on, what, the third floor here?
It was on the third floor. As you see that building, you see those little windows up top, those 4 windows. In the back, there are 2 windows like that, one on each side of the building, and the one that he broke in through apparently was pretty well obscured by that fire escape. I was back there today. The police had been back there. Searchers had been back there. It was far enough up on top of that building and out of sight that you really couldn't tell that the glass was not there. There was no glass on the outside. It had all broken into the building. So there were no indications whatsoever that that window was actually gone until somebody went in from the inside and found it.
It's just a sad story all the way around, Rich. Thanks very much. The Cincinnati Zoo, where Brogan formerly worked, will host a vigil for him tonight. It's at 7:30. Police are also still hoping that someone will find and turn in Brogan Dulle's Samsung Galaxy cell phone. It still has not been recovered.